Cats are such a quiet, almost mysterious presence in our homes. We feel like we know them, but sometimes that connection, it feels like there is a little bit of a veil there. It's a relationship that's all about these tiny, subtle cues, and it can leave you wondering, just how deep does our bond actually go? And it's so easy to ask that question, right? You see a dog with its tail wagging, just so open with its affection, and you look over at your cat, who's, well, a bit more reserved. But here's the thing. It's not really a fair comparison. It's like trying to understand two completely different languages. So the goal isn't to get your cat to act like a dog, but to start learning their unique dialect of trust.
And to really get it, we've got to go way back. Dogs, they come from pack animals. Their whole world was about group dynamics and survival together. Cats, they come from solitary hunters. So their entire social wiring isn't based on constant contact. It's built on a really delicate dance of distance and safety. And that right there is the key to understanding everything else.
So when we start talking about these signs, I really want you to remember this isn't about rejection. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, and it certainly doesn't mean your cat doesn't like you. Think of these as just observations in a very quiet conversation. The key phrase here is not yet. This is all about learning the language of safety that makes a cat feel truly at home. Okay, so let's jump into the first and maybe most obvious sign, physical space. For a cat, the space between you and them isn't just empty air, it's communication. How much space they keep tells you a whole story about how comfortable and trusting they're feeling in that moment. Now look, we all know cats need their alone time. That's a given. But there's a real difference between a cat who's just being independent and one that's actively avoiding you. If you notice your cat always gets up and leaves when you walk into a room, or does that classic move where they always settle just outside of arm's reach, that might be them saying, I'm not quite ready for close contact just yet. And wanting to be close isn't unusual for cats at all. Actually, some cool research from Oregon State University found that more than 60% of cats show what's called a secure attachment to their people. All that really means is they see their human as a safe base, a source of comfort they'll come back to when they feel a little unsure about the world. All right, let's move on to something way more subtle but oh so revealing, their eyes. In the cat world, a long, direct stare can feel like a challenge, even a threat. So how a cat uses its eyes around you, that tells you a ton. The slow blink. This is pretty much the gold standard of feline trust. Some people call it a kitty kiss, and honestly, that's a great way to put it. When a cat looks at you and intentionally, slowly closes and opens its eyes, that's a huge deal. They're basically saying, I trust you so much that I'm willing to be vulnerable and close my eyes in your presence. It's pure, relaxed confidence. So, on the flip side, you have the opposite of that. A cat that just won't make eye contact or whose eyes are always wide open, with those big, round pupils, that's a cat in a state of high alert. Wide eyes are all about taking in as much visual information as possible, being ready for anything. It's their brain in surveillance mode, which is the opposite of contentment. And that watchfulness, that state of alert, it doesn't just stay in their eyes. You'll see it ripple through their entire body. A cat's posture is like an open book, telling you exactly how they're feeling, especially when you get close or reach out to them. You can almost see the difference, can't you? A relaxed, bonded cat is kind of loose, almost like liquid. Their muscles are soft. Their tail might have a gentle, slow swish. They might even do a big stretch and show you their belly, which is a massive sign of trust. But a cat that's feeling unsure will be tight, like a little loaf with all its limbs tucked in. Its muscles are tense, ready to spring. That posture is saying, I don't feel safe enough to let my guard down yet. And here's a really subtle one to watch for. If you reach out to pet your cat and they do a little flinch or they just go completely still and rigid, that's often a sign they're tolerating your touch, not actually enjoying it. It's the difference between a yes, please and an okay, I guess. For cats, feeling like they're in control of the interaction is everything. Okay, for our last sign, let's think about the flow of your relationship. A really strong, trusting bond, it's a two-way street. So it's worth taking a moment to just observe who's starting the conversations. Just take a second and think about a normal day. Are you usually the one going to your cat for a pet? Are you the one who seeks them out for a cuddle? Or does your cat sometimes, even in a small way, make the first move to come to you? And listen, an initiation doesn't have to be some grand gesture like them jumping right into your lap. For a more shy or reserved cat, it can be as quiet as them choosing to come nap in the same room as you instead of somewhere else. Or maybe they just walk over and sit a little bit closer to you than they need to. These are tiny, voluntary bids for connection, and they mean the world.
And this really gets to the heart of how cats think. When we try to force an interaction, even with the best intentions, it can backfire and create anxiety. By just waiting, by playing a little hard to get and letting them make the first move, you're giving them the control they desperately need to feel secure. And that security, that's the foundation for everything. So if any of this is starting to sound familiar, the most important thing is not to get discouraged. Seriously, this isn't a grade on how you're doing as a cat parent. Think of it as an invitation, a chance to learn their language a little better and start building that bridge of trust, one small, respectful moment at a time. So how do we do it? Well, the biggest thing is to shift your focus from getting affection to giving security. Just start by watching them, learning their little signals. Let them start the conversation, and just as important, let them be the one to end it. Create really calm, predictable routines around things like food and playtime. And most of all, just be patient. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Trust is built from hundreds of tiny, positive moments.
Ultimately, I think building a deep connection with the cat teaches us something really valuable. It's not about big, loud gestures or demanding love. It's about the incredible power of a quiet, consistent, and respectful presence. It's a conversation where listening is so much more important than talking, and it's a conversation that is so rewarding once you start to understand it.